I've read some pretty great books recently, so let's talk about them. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Michaela, and today we're going to be going over my June and July reads. To be perfectly honest with you guys, June was rough for me. I literally read 3 books. And they're not even that big. I literally read 3 books. I'm trying a different way of doing these wrap-ups because I feel like I can never explain the book well enough. And I might, but to me, I don't feel like I do. So we're trying something new today, so just hang with me, okay? So we're going to start off with Rock Bottom by Dominique Wolfe. And she actually sent me this book. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. So the tropes that are going to be in this book, one of my favorites, fake dating. Hello, I love it. Grumpy Time Sunshine, also a favorite. Forced proximity, can never go wrong, right? And then enemies to lovers. So literally all of my favorite tropes in one book. Okay, and some brief things that I really enjoyed about this book is I was so hooked. I just wanted to know what these characters were going to do next. So I literally couldn't stop reading it. It was super fast paced. And I just loved watching the characters grow together because they were literally taking sledgehammers to each other's walls. And I was here for it the whole time. Okay, so there's a wedding coming up and Calvin's ex will be there. In order to save face, he gets Nikita to tag along, which wasn't hard because she could use a break from the chaos that is her life. And the two can't stand each other, but they put differences aside in order to go on this trip. She just wants a little break and he has to go to this wedding because it's for his friend, but his ex is gonna be there and he's just you know how it goes. Okay, so they literally can't stand each other, so catching feelings won't be an issue. At least that's what they thought. That's what they thought. Okay, so Nikita is actually Calvin's best friend's sister. So yeah, we have brother's best friend thing going on here. And we're on a vacay the whole time. So it felt very summery to me personally. And I don't know, it was just so good. A fake dating slow burn brother's best friend. And you guys know how I feel about slow burns, but I gave this 4 stars. Okay, and the next book we read in June is going to be The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and I gave this book 4.75 stars. So I don't really know trope-wise what's going on in here, I can't recall, but I do know it's a true crime mystery thriller type deal going on, and Holly had me hooked from the very start until the very end. And I didn't predict most of the plot twists that came. I wasn't bored by any means at all. So telling you guys briefly what this book is about, it's going to be 16 years ago, Belle's mom, Rachel Price, disappeared without a trace, and 2-year-old Belle was the only witness. All these years later, no one has found Rachel or cracked the case, but when a documentary begins to be filmed, family members recalling Rachel, she suddenly reappears as if a glitch in the system. Belle doesn't trust her mom or her story, but with cameras still rolling, the truth slowly starts to unfold. So obviously, Rachel reappears, okay? She walks back in nothing ever really happened, and she's telling this crazy story of what happened to her, and people are just I don't know. It gets very questionable. I can't tell you how many people I questioned within this book. Everybody was a suspect to me, not kidding. And what actually happened and finding out the end of the story was insanity, okay? Because I just never saw it coming. Holly just has a way of keeping you very, very intrigued for the long run, and I need to get more of her books because I love this book so much. I just binge watched A Good Girl's Guide to Murder on Netflix. So good. I freaking loved it. So yeah, I just think I have this newfound obsession with Holly Jackson, and I want to dive more into it. See if she has any other books that I haven't read yet, because I honestly don't know. Killjoy and 5 Survive. I have not read those, so I'm going to have to. The next book that we read in June, and the last book, because as I said, we only read 3, is going to be The Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden, and I gave this book 3 stars. So don't get me wrong, it was decent, but it was not what I was expecting after book 1 and 2 in this series, especially book 1, because that to me was my absolute favorite. Book 2 was still on the same train track, so it was nice, but this one we take a whole alternate route, and I'm just I don't know if I like this. So obviously we have a mystery thriller. Freida McFadden is the queen of thrillers. And in this book, we're following Millie again, but things have taken a huge turn and her life looks so different from how it did in previous books. Alright, so after living the life of the last 2 books, Millie is looking for a peaceful life. She's freshly moved into the house of her dreams in the suburbs and wants to leave her past behind her. Only when the neighbors start to watch her house does she question if her past is really closer than she thinks. The neighbor is always locked in on the house with accusatory glances, while her maid, well, there's another story there. Oh my god. So if you remember correctly, the first 2 books, Millie is a maid and that's her job and that's how she finds her side jobs, I guess you could say. So when they move into this suburban house looking for a new start and a normal life, and the neighbor across the street cannot take her eyes off their house, and then the maid is really acting strange and just really weird, okay? So things start taking spins and there was so many twists and turns that I never saw coming. But for some reason, it didn't fulfill me the way I thought it would. But the very ending did make me gasp. Like, I can't say that I did not freak out towards the end, but it just wasn't what I wanted, you know? Okay, and then the first book we read in July is going to be a novel love story by Ashley Poston. And hold on, don't gasp, but I gave it 3 stars. So some tropes that we have in here are gonna be time travel, forced proximity, what is frenemies? I would say they're frenemies. I really love the plot line, okay? It was great, but I hated what she did with it, and I hate saying those words out of my mouth, but I friggin', ugh, I was so mad at the end of the book. So telling you what this book is about, Eileen has had it rough recently, and her fiance leaving her at the altar was the last push she needed to run away for a little while. Her and her friends go to a book club retreat every year, and this year, Eileen is counting on it. Not only do all her friends have to cancel for their own reasons, but on the way up, her car breaks down in the middle of some random town. Until she realizes it's not so random after all. It's her favorite fictional town, and she's smack in the middle of it. Doesn't that sound so good? Like, it sounds so good. It's not fair for me to not have liked this book, but the ending just made my blood boil, dude. I was like, I get it, but I hate it. The next book I read in July, I finally did it, guys. I read Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Obviously, it's a 5-star read. So some tropes that are in this book is going to be sports romance, friends to lovers, who did this to you, and found family. Some of my favorites, okay? I love them. Some things I enjoyed, which I could literally talk about everything in this book because I absolutely loved every piece of it. Meeting all the characters, because I've heard about these characters. I feel like I kind of knew them, but I didn't know them. Like kind of like how you know of people in school and you're like, oh yeah, that girl. And then you meet her and you're like, okay, that girl. That was this book for me. Like, meeting Gipsy has been the biggest honor of my life. And I love him so much. Also, like, I've never been so emotionally invested in a book like in this way. Like, I was crying the whole freaking time. It just hurt so bad. This is a book, and I'm not triggered very easily. It takes a lot to trigger me, but please read the trigger warnings on this book because, ow. This book, after reaching her breaking point with school bullies, Shannon Lynch changes schools and enrolls at Tommen University, an elite private school widely known for their rugby team. Johnny Kavanaugh is a rugby god and a total heartbreaker. Everyone wants him, he wants none. That is until little Shannon cuts across his field one day and sparks their first meet. Ever since, he can't stop thinking about her. Someone being nice to Shannon is alarming to her. What does this hotshot want? All she wants is to lie low and get through school with no drama. Who knew that was such a big ask? Guys, I don't know how to accurately put this book into words and like make you understand that you have to read it. Like, it's life-changing. Anyway, okay, so this book was amazing. 5 fat stars. Please read it if you have not, but also please read the trigger warnings. Okay, and the next book we've read in July is going to be Neutral Zone by Tegan Hunter. Obviously a 5-star read. So some tropes you have in this book are going to be online romance, hidden identity, cam girl times voyeur. I honestly don't know how to say that word, but the people that like watching, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, and then friends to lovers. So we got some great tropes going on in here, and we have some very, very steamy tropes going on in here. So some things that I enjoyed about this book is it was the perfect ending to a perfect series. Like, and it's funny to me because I know that Tegan, this was initially going to be the first book in the series. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I do. But the fact that she switched that and made that change just seems so utterly perfect to me because this was an ending. It was the last book in the Carolina Comment series. It just felt right. Okay, so this book. To my fans, I'm known as Ivan Fitzgerald. To my teammates, I'm just Fitz. And to the girl I've been talking to online, I'm Shoots and Scores. No matter how badly I want her, I can't have her, because the woman I love watching so much, the one I might slowly be falling for, she's not just some stranger on the internet. It's Rosie, the woman who serves me my coffee and donuts every morning, and she has no clue it's me. So obviously I'm getting a little giddy because, like, dude, Rosie and Fitz, oh my god, all of these couples in all of these books, they just make me so happy, and I love them so much. If you like hockey, you like steamy stuff, you like enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, literally any of the tropes, I give it to you on a golden platter. Take it, read it, come back to me, let me know how you feel about it, because my life mission is to make everybody read these books, and I will not shut up until everybody does. So leave that there. Next book we read is going to be Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter, and I gave this book 4.25 stars. So some tropes we have in here are going to be rom-com, brother's best friend, forced proximity, and enemies to lovers. Some things I enjoyed about this book: the banter. Like, I literally could read just text messages throughout the whole thing and be perfectly fine with it. But yeah, I mean, it's funny to me that a rom-com could have kept me hooked literally the entire time. I just wanted to know, what was the next text gonna say? When were the freaking flames gonna go up and everybody was gonna be like, oh my god, I didn't know I was texting you, and you know? So it was just like very angst-driven, banter-driven, smut-driven. It was so good. So let's talk about what it's about. Okay, so Olivia Marshall has more bad luck than good, but when a "what are you wearing" text comes through and she begins talking to this unknown man, she believes things may be looking up for her. To Colin Beck, Olivia has always been his best friend's annoying little sister, but when he discovers she's the woman behind Miss Dial, he has a choice to make: ghost her and forget this ever happened, or keep this game they have going. After all, they wanted to keep it anonymous. So, like, what do you do? What do you do? So in this book, we have to see, like, is Colin going to be like, okay, skirt, and kind of like just pull himself out of the situation, or is he going to be like, okay, I'm just going to keep up this ruse because we agreed we'd never meet or expose who we truly are. I absolutely loved it. It was so good, and it has me so excited for The Love Wager, because people compare these two all the time and they're always like, oh, but The Love Wager is so much better. So I'm so excited to get into that book because I absolutely love this one. The next book we read in July, Reckless by Lauren Roberts, obviously 5 stars. Guys, I literally, like, I can't explain to you how obsessed I am with this woman and her writing and her characters. I just literally wish I could throw myself into this book. For the tropes, I wanted to use Lauren's because it was just so funny to me. If you've read the book, you'll get it. If not, you're gonna be like, what did you just say? You heard me right, okay? So the tropes we have in Reckless is going to be enemies to lovers, one bed, one horse, forced proximity, toucher, and die. So I feel like that is such a great combination of tropes, and you're probably like, girl, what do you mean one horse? You'll figure it out. So the ending of this book, there was a few people who told me, they were like, oh, I so saw that coming. Girl, not me. I was not ready for that at all. Oh my god, the ending had me screaming. I was like, I just froze, just like I just did, because thinking about it and thinking how I have to wait till next year. Oh my god, what is going to happen, dude? It's so crazy the way it ended. So I'm gonna tell you what this book is about, but if you haven't read Powerless, I would suggest skipping this part. So go ahead and skip to the next book. We have 2 books left. Go ahead and skip to the last 2 because I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I also want to tell you what's going on. Okay, so I'm hoping that if you haven't read Powerless, you've left by now, because I'm about to read the blurb, and I don't want to be that person that spoils this book for you because it's so good and you need to read it yourself. So, after surviving the purging trials, ordinary-born Peyton Gray has killed the king and kick-started a resistance throughout the land. Now she's running from the one person she wanted to run to. Kai Azer is now Ilya's enforcer, loyal to his brother, the king, and has vowed to find Peyton and bring her to justice. I really struggled to say that, but you're following, okay? Across the deadly scorches and deep into the hostile city of Dor, Kai pursues the one person he wishes he didn't have to. But in a city without elites, the balance between the hunter and the hunted shifts, and the battle between duty and desire is deadly. Oh my god, it's so good, okay? Please read this book, it is so good. Moving on, we have The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I gave this book 4 stars. Some things I enjoyed about this book is going to be the mystery of it all. It kept me really intrigued the whole time. She was just asking so many questions that I also wanted the answers to. So I was just like super intrigued the whole time. To me personally, it was totally unpredictable and I really enjoyed it. And knowing that I didn't really care for the first one, the Inheritance Games, this one shocked me. Like, I considered putting the series down and just being like, I don't even want to read it. I'm so glad I didn't, because this book like did a complete 180 for me. So the Inheritance Games ended with a bombshell, and now heiress Avery Grahams needs to pick up the pieces and find the man who might hold the answers to all of her questions, including why Tobias Hawthorne left his entire fortune to Avery, a virtual stranger, rather than to his own daughters and grandsons. Thanks to a DNA test, Avery knows that she's not a Hawthorne by blood, but clues pile up hinting at a deeper connection to the family than she had ever imagined. As the mystery grows and the plot thickens, Grayson and Jameson, the Hawthorne grandsons, continue to pull Avery in different directions. And there are threats lurking around every corner. As adversaries emerge who will stop at nothing to see Avery out of the picture, by any means necessary. So I just really loved how exciting this one was. Like, it just had so many different things going on at every point, and I was just always like on the tip of my toes waiting for the next shoe to drop. And I just love that in a book. I love when you can keep me intrigued even if it's like dull for a minute, nothing's really happening, and then boom, so I'm just like hooked again. And this book just never let me out of its grasp, and I really liked it. I was so nervous for it too, so I love that. I was very pleased with it. And the last book that we read in July is going to be Just Haven't Met You Yet by Sophie Cousins, and I gave this book 3 stars. So this is like a slow burn, friends to lovers type deal, and honestly, I may have been being too nice with 3 stars. So I mean, some things I enjoyed before I talk about what I didn't enjoy is I did like the plot twist. I saw it coming from 200 pages away, but I still enjoyed it because it was what I wanted anyway. So I wasn't really mad that I kind of predicted what was going to happen. Also, something else I really enjoyed was the MMC. I just found him so lovable and wholesome, and I just loved him so much from the moment I met him. So moving on to the things I didn't like. Okay, there's literally like, I guess you could say 2 things that I didn't like, but mainly just the one. The FMC in this book was absolutely insufferable to me. So I'm going to tell you quickly what it's about so you can kind of understand like what I'm talking about right now, and then I'll tell you a few more feelings that I have. So Laura's business trip to the Channel Islands isn't exactly off to a great start. After dumping everything in her bag in front of the most attractive man she's ever seen in real life, she arrives at her hotel only to realize she grabbed the wrong suitcase. Her only consolation, the irresistibly appealing contents of the case. A copy of her favorite book, piano music, and a rugged, heavy-knit fisherman sweater only a Ryan Gosling lookalike could pull off. The owner of the suitcase is Laura's dream man. She's sure of it. Now all she has to do is find him. So that's what it's about. I thought it sounded pretty intriguing. I was like, well, what can be in the suitcase that's gonna make this girl be like, oh my god, I literally want to marry him? Like, I just wanted to know, and So the reason she was so insufferable for me is because she was so stuck on this suitcase ordeal being her meet cute, and it was just like annoying. Not a fan, so we're just going to move on. So that's actually all the books that we read. We've read 10 books in 2 months, which is not great, but there's 3 5-stars in here and some really enjoyed books, so I think that's pretty okay. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. It's always a blast. I hope you got some recommendations from this video, or maybe you've read some already. Let's talk about them because you guys know I can talk all day about books. So let me know in the comments below if you've read any of them. Make sure to like and subscribe if this is the kind of content you like to see, and I will see you guys next time. So I love you. Read great books. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out. Wait, what did I say? I should have had the camera on. What did I just say? It was good. It was good. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's, why do I always do that with my hands? If you haven't been here before, my name's Michaela, and I talk with my hands all the time. I've read some pretty decent books. Pretty decent, Michaela, pretty decent. What? An elite private school popularly known at Tommen University, an elite private school popularly popularly, why can I say not, what? Why can I, widely known. I'm gonna change it. Anywho, I'll see you on the other side.